boxing, Judge Christian Becerra, who's a candidate right now. Make sure you are shouting them out when you see them. Show them some love. Yeah. It's a party going on round here.
A celebration will last throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We gon' celebrate your party with you. Come on now. Celebration. Let's all celebrate and have a good time. Celebration. Celebrate and have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone around the world, come on! It's a celebration. It's a celebration. Celebrate good times, come on. Let's celebrate. There's a party going on right here. A dedication to last throughout the years. So bring your good times and your laughter too. We gon' celebrate and party with you. Come on now. Celebration. Let's all celebrate and have a good time, yeah, yeah. Celebration. We gon' celebrate and have a good time. It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone around the world, come on! It's a celebration. It's a celebration. Celebrate good times, come on. Let's celebrate. Come on now. Celebrate good times, come on. Let's celebrate. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's alright. We're gonna have a good time tonight. Let's celebrate. It's alright. Amen. Let's celebrate. It's alright. Let's celebrate. It's alright.
Once again, I need y'all to go ahead and make some noise for yourself for coming out tonight to Fort Bend County. This is our Congressional Town Hall meeting. Yes. Yes, 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 yes. Now, for those of you that just got here a few minutes ago, we challenged each other to make sure that we weren't just standing next to a stranger. We are in this community together. So once again, turn to the person to your left and to your right. Give them a high five. Introduce yourself. Yeah, this is family. This is community. This is how we come together. This is how we come together to support each other, to be heard. shout out to all of the organizations that have already received a shout out tonight. Once again, if I have not given your organization a shout out, please make sure that you send somebody back here to the DJ table so that I can shout them out accordingly. It is Women's History Month. I want you to make some noise for all of our ladies. Yeah. I want you to make noise for all of our educators out here tonight. Shout out to the educators. Shout out to the educators. Yeah. Check this out. We got the Galveston Island Democrats. They drove up here. Galveston Island Democrats are here tonight as well, coming all the way from Galveston. North Missouri County Democrats are here tonight. Shout them out. Please make some noise for them. North Missouri County Democrats are here tonight. Yeah. You gotta send somebody back here. I can't hear you from over there, but I got you though. Yeah. Because I want to rock with y'all here tonight. Fort Bend County, Congressional Town Hall. Make some noise if y'all almost ready to get started. Make some noise if y'all ready to get started. Meyerland, Kingwood, Katy, Democratic clubs here tonight. Meyerland, Kingwood, Katy. We got community voices and for public education. Community voices for public education are here tonight as well. Indivisible Katy Huddle. The Indivisible Katy Huddle. Indivisible Katy Huddle is here tonight. And they got their capes on because they are ready to get heroic tonight. Yeah. Shout out to the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office. Please make some noise for the Fort Bend County Sheriff's Office as well. They are with us here tonight. Yes. Moms Demand Action. Make some noise for Moms Demanding Action tonight. Yeah. And make some noise for the Bay Area Democrats. They're also out here tonight. Yeah. We are outside. We are outside together. I shouted out the educators just a few minutes ago, but I want to shout out some students. I need y'all to make some noise for the Rice University Young Democrats here tonight as well. Rice University is in the house tonight. Yeah, Rice University. Hold on, but you know what though? Hey, all respect to Rice University, to the Young Democrats, but the University of Houston Cougars are in the Sweet 16. So I need somebody say, go Cougs! It's all right, Rice. You can also cheer for them since we're in the Sweet 16. It's all good. Big shout out to Rice University, University of Houston, St. Thomas, Texas Southern University, TSU, Prairie View. We got all our colleges and universities in this area outside tonight as well. We're rocking out together, y'all. Our Congressional Town Hall here in Fort Bend County. Getting started in just a few minutes. Yeah. told to make sure I shout out my Latinos as well. I was told to make sure I shout out my Latinos that are out here as well. Yeah. All right, well, you can start. I need y'all to go ahead and start making some noise. Start clapping your hands. Start making some noise. Making some noise. Our featured speakers will be out in just a second. We're going to start with our very own Fort Bend County Dex McCoy in just a few minutes. Y'all make some noise, make some noise, make some noise. We're feeding off of y'all energy. We're feeding off of your energy tonight, y'all. We are feeding off of your energy, okay? I need to shout out Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated here tonight as well. Shout out to all my NPHC family members, D9. We are outside here tonight in Fort Bend County, yes. I'm the Once again, make some noise for our vets, make some noise for our vets, make some noise for our vets right now. Vets for Democracy. Shout out to my big brothers of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated as well. They're outside tonight. I'm shouting out all the organizations. Y'all. We are all here together. We are getting organized together here tonight. That's right. If y'all are ready for our featured speakers, if you're ready for Dex McCoy, Tim Walz, Beto O'Rourke, make some noise. I need y'all to make some noise, make some noise, make some noise, make some noise, make some noise. Keep clapping, and clap those hands, clap those hands. I say powered by, you say people. Powered by. Yeah, keep clapping, y'all. We're gonna keep going. All right, y'all, here we go.
That's all right. Keep that energy going. Keep that energy going. Are y'all excited to be here today? Well, good evening, everybody. I am Fort Bend County Commissioner Dex McCoy, and I'm fired up that you're here today. Now, I know y'all are super excited to be here because we're wanting our voices to be heard. And we've got some folks here to help us be heard today. Now, we're here hoping that our congressman in Texas 22 will show up for us. And I got a list of elected officials who actually showed up on the job today. Let's recognize them. First, I want to recognize our district court judges, Judge Christian Becerra and Judge Oscar Telfair III. I want to recognize our Fort Bend District Court, District Clerk, Beverly Walker. Harris County District Clerk, Marilyn Burgess. And our county court at law judges, Judge Tony Wallace and Judge Tina Watson. Now, I'm going to take a point of personal privilege. We also have representation from our county attorney's office in Fort Bend County, County Attorney Bridgette Smith-Lawson. Now, folks, I've heard from many of you. I serve as county commissioner, and I represent similar folks as Congressman Nails, and I've heard from you. Folks are naturally anxious about the state of things and where we find ourselves today. I know that there are folks in this room who have written to their congressman and asked him to hold a town hall. And so when I heard that you weren't getting responses, I said, well, I'm an elected official. I'll write a letter too. Because it is appalling that in the almost 4.5 years that Congressman Nails has been in office, he has yet to hold one town hall meeting open to the general public. Not one. Not one. And look, folks, it's a strange thing. It ain't that hard. In my first year in office, I held 17 town hall meetings in 15 different locations. And so I wrote to him, and I asked him to come out and host a town hall meeting. You think we got a response? No. Well, look, I think your voice is a whole lot louder than mine, so I have two things for you to do. One, I'm asking you to sign on to a letter calling on Congressman Nails to hold a town hall. And so there are volunteers all around this room with clipboards. Sign your name to those letters, and tomorrow morning, I'm personally delivering them to his office on your behalf. Here's the second thing. Even though No-Show Nails ain't here today, we're going to offer him another opportunity. Everybody say April 14th. April 14th. Say April 14th. On April 14th at 6 o'clock, we'll take care of the logistics. I want y'all to meet me at the Fort Bend County Precinct 4 Annex in the city of Richmond. We're gonna have a seat set up for Congressman Nails, so hopefully he actually shows up to hear from us and answer our questions. Now, when we asked him to come out today, he seemed to have no time. He's not here. But he had time to make a video. And in that video, he called us losers. And y'all, I'm not about a bully. I can't stand a bully. But when I started to think about it, he was right. With the rising cost of child care, we are losing. With the rising cost of health care and folks not being able to afford it, we are losing. When Social Security checks aren't guaranteed to come next month for our seniors, folks, we are losing, and we're losing because we have a guy who can't show up on the job. And so there was a volunteer in the community, Catherine Stovring. Is Catherine here today? Catherine picked up the phone and she called somebody who she knew would actually show up. And I said, you know what, I'll do it too. And I called someone who I knew when he was on the city council in El Paso. Every week before he had a city council meeting, he had a town hall meeting to go over the agenda with his constituents so that he knew how they wanted him to vote. When he was in Congress and Congress was on recess, like our Congress will be on April 14th, he went and he had town hall meetings. And that's why I'm so glad today we have a champion for our community who's here today. We have someone who's going to show up and listen to us and help us amplify our voice. Please help me welcome Beto O'Rourke.
Let's hear it for Commissioner McCoy. All of the amazing Powered by People volunteers who helped to put on tonight's event. The residents, the constituents, the voters of Congressional District 22 who have not had a proper town hall from their current congressman since he's been elected and demanded one to make sure that people showed up to listen, to learn, and to fight back. Okay, Athena, people are saying they can't hear me on this mic.
I love you too. All right. Yeah. Is that a little better? All right. Just know that I thanked a bunch of people.
Okay, I want you guys to go back in time. It was a while ago. In fact, it was last Friday. There was this scene in the Oval Office. You had Donald Trump sitting. I feel the same way. You had Donald Trump sitting at the Resolute desk. That in itself a crime against humanity, right? I think so. Next to him, standing, is the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth. People are still saying, but folks in the back are saying they can't hear, so could we get some volume, Aisha, Athena? Yeah. Can you hear back? The folks in the back are saying they can't hear. This one?
How about this mic?
Better? Same.
We're saying the same. Are we better back there? Can the chicken hear me?
Okay. So last Friday, just to bring everybody back to the same page, you have Trump and Pete Hegseth, the Defense Secretary, in the Oval Office, announcing God only knows what. You can't really understand these folks. But Pete Hegseth says, he's talking about America. He says, under the previous administration, we look like fools. And then in his best Fox News weekend anchor voice, he says, not anymore. 3 days later, that guy, across an unsecured group chat on a commercial platform, is texting detailed attack plans, putting the men and women of the United States military in harm's way as we ask them to go halfway across the world to secure our interests and to defend this country. That's not it. Just in the last 3 months, which has felt to many of us like 3 centuries, these guys who said that the last administration made us look like fools, they pardoned every single one of the January 6th insurrectionists, including those who beat cops, tried to kill them, and you know that some of those officers took their own lives in the wake of that insurrection attempt. These are the geniuses who, for the first time in American history, caused our country to switch sides from defending democracy in Ukraine to supporting tyranny in Russia. This is the president who is driving this economy, and the economy is you and me and every other American worker and taxpayer into a ditch, promising us that he will lead us into recession, one that will be the worst in generations. And then that genius in health and human services, Bobby Kennedy Jr., he asks the parents and children in the face of a measles outbreak just to toughen up, while a child has died in Texas, the first time in 2 decades that a kid in this country has succumbed to that virus. At the VA, do we have veterans here who've served this country, put their lives on the line? We thank you. And it's important that we share with everyone that it is already too hard to get an appointment at the VA, to receive your service-connected disability so that you can live and take care of yourself and your family. Now President Trump promises to cut 83,000 jobs from the VA most of those he will cut are veterans themselves, the very women and men who put their life on the line for this country. And then lastly, this guy is attacking the courts, the Constitution, and the rule of law. And it's not if or when he will precipitate a constitutional crisis, because he is rejecting the decisions of a co-equal branch of government. We are in that crisis right now. Folks, this is not normal. This is not okay. This is crazy. This is very often criminal, and it is corrupt to the core. So that's why we're here today. That's why we're here today. This town hall is us stepping up, standing strong, and fighting back. Here's my diagnosis, at least for part of the problem. How in the hell did we get here? It seems that, and I'm going to talk about both parties here, okay? If you're a Republican and you're here, you're in the right place. I'm glad you came. If you're a Democrat, you're welcomed as well. Independents, we're glad that you joined us. But Republican members of Congress, the only thing that they fear is Donald Trump. That explains the otherwise inexplicable. How could they go along with this crazy, corrupt, criminal scheme out of the White House? And for Democrats, too many of them fear to fight at all. You saw Chuck Schumer surrender 2 weeks ago Friday, giving up the only leverage that we had in the U.S. Senate. My belief is that these town halls remind those members of Congress, Democrat and Republican alike, who put them into positions of power in the first place. The only ones that they should fear at all are you and the other voters in this congressional district. You have the power to put Troy Nehls into office. You have the power to put someone else and retire that guy from politics for the rest of his life. And let me tell you about the power of town hall meetings just like this one. It's solutions and it's accountability. I was in Congress for 6 years. For every single month, without fail, I held an open town hall just like this one. All comers welcomed, no holds barred. You didn't have to vote for me, you didn't have to like me. In fact, you could come to criticize me, and I was gonna stand there and take it because that was my job as a congressman. And I'll tell you what, I learned a hell of a lot by listening to the people that I served and represented. Let me give you just one example that makes the case. At one of these monthly town hall meetings, a veteran stood up and he said, Beto, you may not know about veterans like me, but I have an other than honorable discharge. I served my country, I put my life on the line, I did everything that America asked me to do. I signed a blank check. But I screwed up along the way. And when I was discharged, it came with that OTH, other than honorable designation. And Beto, that means that I cannot get in to the VA. And at a time that veterans were taking their own lives, 20 a day, every fucking day in this country, every day, these veterans with an OTH discharge, they couldn't get into the VA and they were dying by their own hand at twice the rate. This was unfair, this was unjust. Yes, there has to be a consequence for your behavior, but no, it cannot be your life. So, meeting with this gentleman and other veterans and veteran service organizations around the country, I wrote a bill from that town hall called Honor Our Commitment Act to make sure that those who had an OTH designation could get into the VA. With Tim Walz, we worked with Republicans and Democrats alike, and I feared my constituents should I come back to one of those town halls and not get the sucker done. So we got a vote of 435 to 0, Republican and Democrat, to pass it in the House. We passed it in the Senate. And believe it or not, he probably didn't know what he was signing, but we got Donald Trump to sign that sucker into law. Solutions
and accountability. This stuff works. And now listen, after we have a chance to listen to Governor Walz, he and I are going to listen to you. And we may not come up with every answer, every solution that we're working for, but just the fact that we have chosen to come together today, that we have not given up and we are not giving in, is power in itself. There is power in people. And you may say, hey, Beto, you know, I don't want to wait until 2026 in the midterms. I don't want to wait till 2028 in the next presidential election, if we even have one, right? I'm telling you right now, we do not have to wait, and that's why we're here. In 2017 and 2018, Donald Trump had this god-awful zero-tolerance family separation policy. It meant that if you were coming to our country, you'd walked 2,000 miles with your baby girl. You got to our border, to our front door, to this place of refuge, to a country that is comprised of immigrants from the world over, which is what makes America great in the first place. Under Donald Trump, they took your baby from you. They sent that kiddo to a foster home. They sent you back to Honduras or Guatemala or El Salvador. Today, 7 years later, we still have not connected some of those families. But I'll tell you what, we called for protest. You came down to Tornillo, Texas. You bore witness. You shared it with your friends and families around the country. And within a month, Donald Trump rescinded that executive order. We fought him and we beat him back, and we can do it again. Do not lose hope. Do not lose faith. Though these may be dark days, and they most certainly are, and this president has pushed this country and our democracy to the very edge, to the precipice, I want you to know that we can push back. And if you look at it this way, how lucky are we to be alive at this moment of truth? You can count the generations on one hand that had the opportunity to save the United States of America at its moments of greatest peril. Those who fought in Lexington and Concord, those who brought the Confederacy to its knees at the courthouse in Appomattox, those brave service members who landed on those beaches in Normandy in June of 1934 to defend democracy here at home while fighting fascism overseas, the civil rights and the voting rights marchers throughout the Deep South who won the Civil Rights and the Voting Rights Act. They saved our country. History is calling. We must come through, and we cannot be found wanting. It is going to be us together. And now, Dexter McCoy, the commissioner whose precinct we're in, Catherine Stovling, one of the constituents right here, many others who couldn't get Troy Nails to hold a town hall, reached out to us. I said, I would love to come. And when I shared it with my good friend from Minnesota, he said, do you mind if I join you as well? I served with this guy on the House Veterans Affairs and House Armed Services Committee for 6 years. He was always the first guy in, the last guy out. Meeting with every single veteran who testified before our committee, meeting with the veteran service organizations to make sure that we got the job done for those who got the job done for the United States of America. This guy is as real as it gets. School teacher, football coach, lunchroom monitor, governor of the great state of Minnesota. And listen, Greg Abbott, I know you're watching. Let us show you what a real governor looks like. While Greg Abbott is signing the most obscene abortion ban in America, Tim Walz is expanding access to reproductive health care for women in Minnesota. While Greg Abbott wants to shut down public schools and send our tax dollars to private schools in the form of vouchers, Tim Walz is standing behind public educators and expanding public education. And while the Republicans of this state want to cut Medicaid and Medicare He expanded it for every single resident of Minnesota. Ladies and gentlemen, Governor Tim Walz. Hello, Texas. Will you all remember this? I want Beto to do my eulogy someday if I need it, just so you know. Look, to all of you and to this guy, to the Powered by People and to Beto O'Rourke. Beto's work, is that better? How about now? Okay, one time I asked a crowd, can you hear me? And the guy in back said no. The guy up front said, I can hear every word and I'll switch with that guy. So, I'll try and speak into it. Look, we're in a great space. I gotta say something though with Beto O'Rourke. I was serving in Congress for a couple terms, and a new congressman comes from El Paso. When folks go to Congress, the first thing they all do is they fight really hard to be on committees. The big committees like Energy and Commerce and Appropriations. And no one wants to be on. They want to talk about it, but very few people choose and fight to be on Veterans Affairs. You know why they do that? Because if you're on those other committees, there's all kinds of PAC dollars from people coming in. You know who the lobbyists are for the veterans? The Paralyzed Veterans of America, the DAV, the VFW, the Legion. And Beto O'Rourke not only chose to be on there, he became the leading voice, bipartisanly, to advocate for veterans' mental health and suicide prevention and help pass the Clay Hunt Suicide Prevention Act. Commissioner McCoy, thank you for your voice, to all the elected officials. And look, to each of you, you're here for a simple reason. You love your country. You love it so damn much, you drove in Houston traffic at rush hour to come to this event. That's commitment. That's commitment. And I also say this. You love the freedom and the freedom of speech and what the First Amendment gives you, the right to petition your government for redress of grievances. Now, everybody says they love freedom. The other side does it, and they hang flags off their cars and everything else because they love freedom. Well, so do we, but I think we define it differently. When we're talking about we love freedom, we mean everybody's freedom. Everybody. Because when you're talking that you love freedom but you don't want to extend it to others, you don't really love freedom. What you love is privilege. That's what you're talking about. You love privilege. So you're here tonight to do the most basic, and I would argue, one of the most patriotic things, voice your experiences about what you want to see in your government. Now look, I'm not here to personally attack the member of Congress from this district. I am here to tell them, do your damn job. Do your damn job. And their job, a couple of things. Their job is not to defend the policies of Donald Trump, it's to give voice to the people of this congressional district. Simple as that. And Congressman O'Rourke, where I were talking about this, I went to Congress in 2007, And one of the things I wanted to make sure is we got health care. And the big debates over the ACA happened in 2009. And the Tea Party arose. And I held town halls for 3 hours where people expressed their frustrations, and I took them. They were there to kick my ass. That's what they wanted to do, some of them. But I stood there and answered their questions because I proudly supported expansion of health care, and I was willing to defend it. I was willing to defend it. So, we're going to take your questions. This is for you. I'm here because I have a megaphone or a platform, and I'm handing it to the people. I got asked, who's the head of the Democratic Party? And Fox News went with this and ran because they said, you know what he said? He said the people are the head of the Democratic Party. Yes. 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 So your member of Congress could stand right here on a Thursday night where the Astros just won 3-1, I saw. Twins are down 4-2 to the Cardinals, but it's early, so we'll see. But look, he could stand here, and some of you would stand up and say, why are you defunding the Department of Education that will put my child who's on an IEP and a 504 plan at risk? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? Or why are you okay with Elon Musk attacking Social Security? But look, he has said he supports these. He's voted accordingly. It is not asking too much. If you're proud of these votes, stand in front of people and ask them. And what I've always found is, when I did those town halls, people who disagreed wanted to be heard. And they want you to look them in the eye and tell you why you voted for that. Because it's what we do in this country. And we're going to have to get back to this, and we're turning it into the questions. I just got asked, why are you in Texas doing this? And look, I'm out here doing this because if we would have won in November, we wouldn't be in this goddamn mess. We wouldn't be in this mess. But we didn't. We didn't. We didn't. And that's on me. And I said, we didn't get it done. I'll own it. But what do you think? We're not going to quit. We weren't running to win an election. You don't win elections so you can bank political capital and win another election. You win elections so you can burn that capital and improve lives, especially those who don't have a voice. That's what you do. So when asked why I'm here, I'm going to critique this. I did a little 90-day Eras tour this fall that you saw, and I went to the same 7 states over and over and over and over. Now, I'm not a fan of the Electoral College by any means, for numerous reasons. But we lost the popular vote too. And you know when people said, how'd you lose the popular vote? Because people in states that didn't get visited or don't care said, what damn difference does it make? They're getting all of Texas's electoral votes. Doesn't make any difference. We have lost our voice, and we as a Democratic Party should do some soul searching here. Why is our message only for Philadelphia or Phoenix or Milwaukee? And if we start deciding we're going to use an algorithm to decide how we're going to win elections, how about we just be proud of our policies, take it everywhere, and we will win the damn election on that. So we're here. My friend invited me. Beto just keeps working at it. And we talked about we've got to get out there. And if you want to have answers, they keep asking the elected officials, what do you think you need to do to win? Well, if they knew, we would have freaking won. We would have won. But we didn't. But you know who does? People are standing up and saying, these policies are hurting my family. These policies are doing this. You need to be doing this. So we're going to take a bunch of questions. I will try and, I am not known for like finishing quickly, but I will because I want to get through a bunch. But I would ask all of you when we get to the end. I'm a 4th grade teacher. We'll do popcorn on this. I'd like it, those people know, you know popcorn, we're going to go around. But why this is going on tonight, the question I'm asking is, and we don't just talk, we shouldn't just be talking about what things are. What does it look like? And I said I started doing these town halls because I heard the primal scream of Americans saying, God damn it, do something. Do something about this. And I'm asking you, think about this as you're sitting here tonight. What does something look like? What do you want to see? What do you think are the ideas to organize? Because there's folks out here doing it. And I got elected to Congress in a congressional district that had one Democrat since 1892. And the reason that I ended up winning that district was Howard Dean. Remember Howard Dean, Governor Dean? Howard Dean said, we need a 50-state strategy and we can't ignore a single congressional district. Because of that, my Republican district, farm district in southern Minnesota, people put money into it and we won that seat and we held it for 12 years. So the same thing needs to happen here. I just have to tell you, this tour too is, to be very candid, good for my soul. Look, it would be easy to check out. It would be easy to be cynical. It would be easy to fall into the depression of seeing the crap that's around us every day. But that's not the character. I certainly know it's not for Minnesotans. For Christ's sakes, it's going to snow Sunday in Minnesota. We're tough. We're tough. Texans have a reputation for being tough. And by the way, before I do the, I'm going to do my street cred for some of the young people here. Back in the late 1900s, 1980s, I lived over there at Westheimer in the Southwest Freeway, and went to U of H, and because it's Texas, I had to take 6 hours of Texas history. I know, for a Minnesotan, I know way too much about the Battle of San Jacinto. Way too much. But I know the heart of this state, and the reason I was at the U of H, because the people of Texas invested, and I could go to the U of H for $144 a year. Made it affordable for everyone. And the questions we're going to come to tonight is, we're going to have to figure out how to get, I'm a geographer too, and the person I'm most pissed off of in the world is whatever a-hole created that red-blue map to try and divide America by red-blue, because we know in all those areas, there's people across the spectrum. And we need to start seeing this country again as everyone matters, our voices matter, we're together. So let's do a town hall. Let's go.
All right, we're going to have a chance to take as many questions as time allows. If you can pose your question succinctly, this mic might be too loud, but if you could pose your question succinctly, the governor, and if there's something from a Texas perspective I can add, I will answer them as succinctly as we can, get as many voices into this. Yeah. There were some questions that were submitted ahead of time by people who RSVP'd, and then we're just going to ask some from anybody who holds a hand up after we've gotten through this list. First name, Brittany Cooington. Is Brittany Cooington here, and can we get her a microphone? All right, we've got Brittany right here.
Okay, I'm going to brag a little bit, if that's okay, and then I'm going to follow up with
Texas, for God's sake. We expect it.
But then I'll follow up with a loaded question, of course, because it's Texas, you know. But I'm so excited to be here today, and it's really because I feel like I came with the biggest family that I don't know, and that's the veterans. So right? And I am a proud United States Air Force veteran from Dallas, Texas. And I'm very honored to be here today and pose this question to you on behalf of my people. All right, so with over 1.5 million veterans living in Texas, we are not a monolith, and I believe that has been made very clear by the eclectic representation that we have here today, to put it nicely. But we're obviously very concerned about the cuts at the VA and their potential impact on the veterans' health care. But more than just that, we're more than just veterans. We are the community. We're union members. I'm on a union meeting call right now. So we're union members, we're women, we're non-binary, we're federal employees, we have disabilities, we are caretakers for those with disabilities, and we are a part of the LGBTQ plus community. And all of that while living in marginalized communities ourselves. So here's the question. How do you believe that we can build our multifaceted identity into a cohesive and effective opposition movement against the current administration and their attacks?
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, thank you. Beto, you can join in on this. We've got a lot of commonality here. I was very proud. We both served on that House Veterans Affairs Committee. I had the opportunity and the honor of serving as the ranking member. And I think Beto would say at the time we were there, it was incredibly bipartisan too, on working together, that there was that commitment. Now look, anybody in elected office, and I watch these folks, they all tell you how much they love veterans. Well, talk is cheap. And if you're not following through, and what we're witnessing right now is I would like to tell you it's surprising, but it's not, because the goal for a long time amongst this segment of folks is to privatize the VA healthcare system. And it's for several, and I tell you this, I represent the state that's ranked first in healthcare. I'm home to the Mayo Clinic. We're proud of that. We're proud of that. But the Mayo Clinic will tell you the best healthcare system in the country is the VA system. It trains over 80% of our physicians. Now, their attempt to go at that when they fire the 83% that are at the VA, many of those veterans themselves, the purpose of this is to try and transfer that money into the private sector. They've been continuing to do it. Veterans don't want that. And they will come to you and tell you this, well, the VA is not really efficient. You know, in the private sector, they bill you and the doctor sees you for 15-minute increments. You know when you go see your doctor and they're kicking you out the door as quickly as possible? We actually were in a hearing where one of our colleagues said, did you know some VA doctors are spending up to 40 minutes with their patients? Yeah, that's what we want. That's what we want. And when we started pushing back on that, they caved and we were able to get the funding we needed. And the reason for it is they know that the American people stand firmly with our veterans. They stand firmly with them. So I've always said, and in Minnesota, I'm proud of this, we're going to become the 5th state that eliminates veterans homelessness. We have 218 veterans still to house, and we'll get that done. But the lessons we learned there in talking about building a broader coalition, you know who's standing with us to make sure we get veterans homelessness completed is the advocates for eliminating childhood homelessness and then families. And I think for many of us, these policies that are good for veterans are good for everyone else. The veterans are incredible messengers for it because we know they gave, but I've said this as a veteran myself. I'm proud of that work, but I'm also proud I spent years in the high school classroom. Nurses are proud they spent time in those emergency rooms. Our skilled trades are proud that they built this country. Our small business owners are. These folks have done a wonderful job to try and segment us. And when you say that, and this warms my heart, I'm a veteran, I'm a labor member, I'm an activist, I'm part of a community. That's all of us. Don't let them take our identity and pigeonhole us because they use it to divide. So speak up.
Great answer. The thing that gets me about veterans like yourself is you served once in uniform. You came back to this community and you served again, day in and day out, though you don't wear the uniform right now, presently. I think about these veterans who came back from Vietnam, a war that this country didn't understand and many people didn't support. They didn't come back to ticker tape parades and a thank you for your service. Sometimes they were literally spat upon. But head down, nose to the grindstone, they got to work, they raised their families, they built up their communities. They made this country the great place that it is today. And what gets me about these Vietnam-era veterans, Tim and I, on that Veteran Affairs Committee, they were first in line to stand up for the Gulf War veterans, the Afghanistan veterans, the Iraq veterans. They wanted to make sure that what happened to them never happened to another generation again. So President Trump, you are fucking with the wrong group of Americans right now, okay? Amen. Amen. Let's go to, next question is coming from Sammy Frey from Rice University.
Yay!
Let's go, Owls. All right, do we have Sammy? Okay. Hey.
They got a mic? We got a mic for him? There we go.
We need the mic on.
Or come up here. You can use this one if you want to.
Keep talking to test it.
All right, so my name is Sammy. I'm a student at Rice, and I just wanted to thank you both so much for taking the time to speak with us. It means so much to have both of you stand so firmly in support of democratic values when it seems like kind of the world is crumbling around us. You both are figures of support, and it means more than you'll ever know. So this topic is personal to me. My dad was a federal worker. He worked for the Small Business Administration, and he was one of the many who was laid off by Elon Musk. And before he was laid off, he received a federally sent threatening messages denouncing the use of DEI language and compelling workers to report each other if they found anyone trying to encourage DEI practices. And it hurts my heart, and it hurts everyone around us, because we all know that diversity is what makes America great. So, I know you told me not to ramble, but my question is, how do we speak about and plan for the inclusivity and diversity of opinion that we need to rebuild this country when those terms are being so demonized by the people holding power right now?
Well, Sammy, thank you. And to all the young people who are here, I just pause for a moment and look around and look at, I'm especially talking about these old white guys who seem to disappoint us on a regular basis in this country, but not this group that's here standing with you. Folks that know, as Beto said, those Vietnam veterans, the motto of the damn Vietnam Veterans of America is never again will one generation forget another. And so for all of us to stand up and talk about these issues and to talk to the American public in a way where we let them define the issues. And I watched this happen on the campaign. I thought for sure when Donald Trump was bragging about folks in Springfield eating cats and dogs, that would be the end. It was not. It was not, because we let them define the message. So let's be very clear, segueing from that last question. One of the groups that has benefited greatly by us understanding that diversity, equity, and inclusion and having policies around that were veterans themselves for hiring. Veterans are a part of the group when the federal government hires people based on that. The rest of it is we all know, in Minnesota, pretty white, pretty cold, much like you see in the northern hemisphere, northern states, population going down, 70% of our workforce over the next 20 years is going to come from communities of color. Our very existence depends on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I'm just going to note this shit show of a text chain that was going on could have used a little diversity, equity, and inclusion in the people who were there. So I think, and I'm going to own this, when we see people back off and we see corporations back off to the threats, instead of leaning into and knowing we're doing this because it's not only morally the right thing to do, it's economically the right thing to do, and our culture proves that our strength is our diversity, we've been talking about this for years as a country of immigrants. And we let them define the issue on immigration. We let them define the issue on DEI, and we let them define what woke is. We got ourselves in this mess because we weren't bold enough to stand up and say, you damn right we're proud of these policies. We're going to put them in, and we're going to execute them. And so they're going to use fear. They're going to do whatever they can. What I would say is, we need to make sure we're highly organized. Let's provide the data. Let's show them where things are at. They're finding out now, Florida kicked everybody out, and now what do they have to do? Weaken their child labor laws so we can put kids to work? That's not who we are. So what I would say to you is, this is about demonizing, and in this moment, and we may pivot to it, I know Texas, it's a hot issue. Immigration's a hot issue on our border too, Canada. We like them. We like them. But if we're afraid to talk about these harder issues, if anyone's finding it hard to find their voice and say what happened to this young woman at Tufts University is absolutely horrific, then we deserve to lose elections. Because if we're not willing to stand up and say, of course we need reforms, of course we need to put things in there, but you can do these things without sacrificing our humanity, without sacrificing understanding where we come from. DEI is the same way.
Thanks. I love that. Let's have the courage of our convictions. Sammy, that makes us proud. Everything that you share.
Stay strong.
We're sorry about what happened to your dad and to your family. The reason we're here is so that we stop that from happening. A reporter asked me earlier, hey Beto, do you think the Democratic Party tent is big enough for all of these different views and voices? You know, you got people on the far left, you have moderate Democrats. This is my answer. Tell me if you agree. I don't think the test right now is between people on different ends of the political spectrum. The test to define who a Democrat is right now is, are you going to fight or are you going to surrender?
I agree.
Let us be fighters right now. Let us fight. All right. We have Tanya Pettis and her 11-year-old son, Aiden. All right, Tanya Pettis and your 11-year-old son, Aiden.
Aiden, where are you?
I think you got right here. Here you go.
Come on up. Yeah, you got that one. Come on up.
My name is Aiden, and I'm a 6th grader who attends a Title I school. If Trump dismantles the Department of Education, what can I do to protect my right to a good education?
Wonderful. I'm taking this one from you. Thanks, brother. Well, well, Aiden, thank you. Thank you for coming. Thank your parents for bringing you and participating in the democracy. And I'm going to say it to all those public school teachers here. Thank you so much. To the parents of public school teachers, to those of us who went to public schools, look, the public schools are the great American contribution. It's also the great American stepping stone. It's the ladder. And just to be clear, it's happening across the country. It happened to Iowa, which, by the way, we as Minnesotans fight with Iowa a lot. You know, it's one of the things we do. But the one thing, I'll take no slander against Iowa's education system as it used to be, but that is gone now because they have voucherized, they're losing teachers, they're underfunding. Now, what Aiden's asking about is a Title I school. You all know all this is. What we decided was, and look, I'm going to own this. Democrats have done a poor job of telling the American public what the Department of Education actually does. Admit it. All of you are out there, and if you're not in education, you're like, well, I'm kind of wondering it. I know I'm for it. Because they allowed people to say, well, I saw people go on TV, we need to give back control of the curriculum to the states. They already have it. We need to give the power to hire the teachers and their licensure back to the states. Already have it. Well, we need to have the states fund most of it through property taxes in some states. Other states do more with giving it from the state itself, from the general fund. But the real purpose and the great thing the Department of Education did was it ensured that no matter your zip code, your race, your socioeconomic background, wherever you lived in this country, we were going to guarantee you an equal quality education. And just because you're a northern state doesn't mean that you escaped some of this. We all know things like Brown versus Board of Education or troopers escorting Ruby Bridges into the schoolroom is because left to their own devices, states won't give an equal education to every student. And so when they come at Title I, they're going at the schools where people need more. or they're going for many of you in here, like my family, my son is protected under IDEA, Individuals with Disability and Education Act, which the new secretary didn't even know what it was. This is the guarantee that no matter what your disability is, we will guarantee you access to that classroom and access to a quality education. Now, for my son, he's got an individual education plan, an IEP, and his teachers get extra help, and the federal government gives extra money to those schools like Title I, so they're able to educate the children. And so now they're telling us, it's okay, the states will handle this. Look, we need to call it what it is. This is a move back to segregating our schools and eliminating some of our kids from the classroom. So the thing we do here is we make damn sure, and we're going to make sure, look, Beto does this, what I love about him, he speaks right from the hip. I do too. Sometimes it gets me into trouble. And somebody said, do you regret? Well, you know, you always regret a few things. What I don't regret is calling Elon Musk a dipshit. I do not regret that. I do not regret that. And this guy, for all of you, how do we make the case for the taxpayers of Texas who sent their money to the Department of Education to make sure we had equal access across this country? How are we not framing this up that Donald Trump is defunding America to give tax cuts to the very people who are cutting these programs? It's that simple. So, Aiden, our commitment's always been there, and I guarantee you, 80 to 85% of the public is 100% with us on this. Every child in America should be guaranteed a quality education. Thank you. Thank you.
Good job, Aiden. And Tim, we want to make sure that we let him know this, and we want to remind everybody here, in addition to these cuts to the Department of Education that Aiden was just talking about, in Texas, the governor has proposed a voucher bill that will drain the already meager resources from our public schools, our public school educators. Tim, in Texas, odds are, if you're a public school teacher, you're not working one job. You're working 2 jobs, you're working 3 jobs just to make ends meet. After going decades for retired teachers not getting a cost of living adjustment in the state of Texas, and to add insult to injury, they want to take $1 billion of our tax dollars, send them from private schools and taxpayers just like us to private school families who are already sending their kids to these institutions right now. Though the governor would have you believe otherwise, this is not a done deal. Please call your state representative, call your state senator, say no on vouchers in Texas, yes on high-class, world-class public ed in the state of Texas. All right, we're now going to go to Mary Ann Helms, right here in Rosenberg. Right here. I'm going to give you my mic.
I just wanted to thank both of y'all for being here when our congressman is not here, and that means a lot to us to be able to have a voice. My question today is about election integrity. I hope they have seen the reports from cybersecurity experts that they've released analyses of election data out of Clark County, Nevada, that show some pretty convincing evidence of election tampering. My biggest fear is that we're not going to make it to the midterms. So what can we do to make sure, A, that the midterms actually happen, and B, that they're free of fraud?
Yeah.
Thank you for asking.
Well, this one's a core. We saw just recently Donald Trump's executive order to make it more difficult, specifically to women, trying to make it more difficult for women to be able to vote. We see one of the first things they do is try and restrict the vote. This is one of the things, though, that this is going to take power to the streets. I don't know what the answer is on this, but I've been saying this. I think we need a shadow government, so when all these things come up every single day, we've got an alternate press conference telling the truth about what things are happening, what's going on. And And on this piece on elections, I'm going to go back to this again about what I think the Democrats have done wrong when they've had power. I think we've been timid. I think we tried to cut deals. Look at Barack Obama came in 2008. He had a 75% approval rating, not 44 like we see now. He had the House, he had the Senate. Well, the Republicans didn't have any charismatic leader to push back. They had John Boehner and Mitch McConnell. And they stopped everything. And they slowed everything down. And they made a difference. And so I think there's a lot of Democrats who are saying, well, when you get power, it doesn't get any better. So I thought we had an opportunity to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act when we had that control, and we didn't do it, which we should have done. I thought we should have passed an Employee Free Choice Act to make it easier to form a union when we had the opportunity. But what I learned from that was when we in Minnesota in 2022 got the trifecta for the first time in decades, we had the governor, the House, and the Senate, and we had it by one vote. You know what you call a one-vote majority? A majority. And that's what you do. And so we passed in Minnesota, we have automatic voter registration for everybody in the state. Starting at 16. 17-year-olds can work as election judges and get into the system to know what they're doing. We restored felon voting rights so everyone could vote. We extended early voting and vote by mail. And we did that not so Democrats could win elections, so that we could honor our Constitution and understanding voting is the heart of what we do. And so we have to get back out again, make the case to the American people that that sacred right of voting, if you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever it is, we need to protect it, starting at the state level, and then make the case when we have power, we should have passed the John Lewis Voting Rights Act so that they couldn't be doing some of this, and that's what we need to do.
Thank you for this question. I'm going to brag on Fort Bend for a second. You know, I mentioned that courthouse in Appomattox and the price that this country paid, the hundreds of thousands of young Americans who gave their lives to defeat the Confederacy, the institution of slavery, to ensure that we actually lived up to our foundational principle, that we're all created equal and that we will be treated equal under the law. Right here in Fort Bend County, following the Civil War, the first African American ever elected to the position of sheriff in the United States of America was right here in this community.
Good story.
Most of the offices of public trust run fairly, democratically, legally by African Americans who for the first time in American history had the opportunity to vie for these positions of power. They did an extraordinary job until the sun set on our democracy. People looked away and then they just completely turned their backs on the South and those who were literally fighting not just for the right to vote and hold office, but for their very lives. You all probably know about the Jaybird War. The Jaybird primary, which was a whites-only primary within the Democratic Party that excluded every African American, that devolved into political violence with assassinations across Fort Bend County in the 1880s. It comes up to the federal government. At that time, the pro-democracy party was the Republicans. To Tim's point, they had the White House, they had the House, they had the Senate. In 1890, they had their version of the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. It passed the House, it gets to the Senate, it is held up on a filibuster. The Republican president decides to make other deals with Southern senators, and they end a multiracial democracy in America that we will not see again until the first president from the state of Texas, Lyndon Baines Johnson, in 1965, signs the Voting Rights Act. So let me bring this full circle. That Voting Rights Act stands the test of time, decade in, decade out. There's a legislator from this community, member of Congress, maybe you've heard of her, Barbara Jordan. She, in the 1970s, reauthorizes the Voting Rights Act to include language minorities. Those U.S. citizens who don't speak English but are picking the food that ends up on your fucking table at night, they should be able to read the ballot and vote and hold office too. And because of her, they did. 1980s, 1990s, 2000s, clear sailing. The arc of justice bends in exactly the way that we want it to. It just happens, right? Progress is inevitable and forever. And then in 2013, in a Supreme Court decision, Shelby versus Holder, the majority, in their infinite wisdom, said, you know what? I guess we don't have a problem with racism in America, or people in political office hoarding power to the detriment of the powerless. So we'll strike down the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, in her scorching dissent, says, you know what? That's like being in a rainstorm, and that fucking umbrella has kept you dry year after year after year, and so you say, you know what? I'm gonna put it away. Well, folks, we have been soaked every single day since 2013. Texas, the worst voter ID law in the country. Texas closed 700 polling places. Where did they close them? In the fastest growing black and brown neighborhoods in the state of Texas. Texas, 13% rejection on mail-in ballots. You see that in banana republics. You do not see it in modern democracies, but you see it in Texas. So listen. This is the question of the hour, because if we do not save our democracy, if we do not get one back in the state of Texas, every other thing that we care about becomes impossible. So look, one of the criticisms, one of the digs on our party is, you guys are great at protesting, at marching, at holding rallies, at bringing celebrities out and getting everybody all jazzed. You suck at building political power. Well, let's change that right now, okay? Here's what I'm asking you. Yeah. I know it's not 2026. I know it's not 2028. I know we don't have candidates on the ballot, but there is work to be done. The folks who are in the high visibility yellow vests are not construction workers, or they may be in their day jobs, but they are powered by people who will sign you up. If you give them your contact info, and in this age of convenience and ease, I promise you this is going to be hard. If you give them your contact information, they're going to get in touch with you. They're going to train you to become a volunteer deputy registrar, get your certification right here in Fort Bend County. They're going to go with you to the places where unregistered, likely Democrats are, get them on the rolls, stay in touch with them, turn them out so that we can fight back and win that election. We will not win if we begin to work in 2026, That's right. But we will if we do it in March of 2025. You with me? Yeah. Let's do it. Wow.
You all remember that commercial, The Most Interesting Man in the World? It's Beto O'Rourke. It's us.
I don't always
We got to know our history. We got to know where we've come from to know where we're going. I appreciate that.
All right, Ryan Rackley from Missouri City, you're up. Okay, here you go. I'm going to give you my mic. Hi, Ryan.
Thank you so much. Thank y'all for being here and fighting for us. Thank you, Coach Walz. We really appreciate. Texas loves you. Glad you're here. Thank you so much. Thank you. So my question is, we're 3 months into this current administration, and there appears to be a rift amongst congressional Democrats regarding the future and direction of the party. Where do you both see the future of the party in the coming years, and how can we trust current leadership to fight for us like you guys are?
Yeah, good question. I think I'm going with Beto on this. Look, future of the party's right here in a barn on a Thursday. But that's not just hyperbole, and that's not a throwaway line. We're going to have to figure out, why are our policies, when we pull our policies, like paid family medical leave, which, by the way, every other damn country in the world has it, except us. Now 13 states, since Minnesota has it, those policies are super popular. If you went out and polled people in Texas, if they wanted paid family and medical leave, it'll poll 80%. It'll poll 80%. Same thing with, would you like us to make sure that our kids can't get into our unlocked guns and shoot each other? That polls pretty well too, because people like that. But we as a party, as Beto's saying, I'm going to give you my example on this, because look, I own this. My job was to go out there and win 7 swing states, and to get old white men without hair to not be terrible and to do the right thing. And I say this as a school teacher, my teachers here all know this, when you teach a lesson and half the students don't get it, it's not because the students aren't very bright, it's because they may learn differently or you didn't do a good job of teaching it. And I think we get so stuck up on message We get so stuck if we just get the right charismatic leader, you know, the next Barack Obama will come along and we'll hire some consultants and we'll have this perfect message for them. They friggin' won by saying people were eating dogs and cats. They won on that, so it wasn't that. But it's this issue that I think Beto's at. Our policies are good for people. We know that we improve people's lives. We're in it for the right reasons. But we're losing these folks, and it's not the 77 million who voted for Donald Trump. I've said this. If you're gonna buy 6 flags, stick them on your truck, buy a picture of Donald Trump looking like he's all buffed out, you're gonna vote. I knew they were gonna vote. What I was worried about is people who thought both parties were the same and that it wouldn't make any difference. And I think the future of our party is what Beto's saying is, when I was growing up, it was clear to me that the Democrats stood with working people. Social Security survivor benefits was there for my mom when she needed it. Public school education, college was affordable. They were there for us. We've got a lot of our neighbors, not bad people. They don't know exactly what we stand for. They don't know if we believe it. And I think Beto's making this point is, let's throw it all out there, fight like hell, and show them that we understand exactly why they're feeling the way they're feeling, exactly why they're so nervous, exactly why it matters to go to the polls, because it'll improve their lives. So I think the future lies with those who are bold. I think the future lies with those who aren't afraid to say, we're not taking your bait on this. I'm not going to fight fights. I'm not going to demonize little kids for who they are just because you don't simply like that. We're going to fight for the things that matter. And I sure the hell would rather go down that way than try and come up with some wonky message that doesn't get there and doesn't improve people's lives. So we got to go bold. Yeah.
You know, I asked you to go back in time with me at the outset, all the way back to last Friday with Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump. Now go with me into the future, generations from today, so our great-great-great-grandkids. And they're reading their history books, if they're still allowed in Texas. Yeah. And they're like, okay, to the teacher, let me get this straight. This guy said he was going to be a dictator on day one. He was lifting lines wholesale from Mein Kampf, saying that immigrants are poisoning the blood of America. He tried to destroy the Constitution. He ignored a co-equal branch of government. He called veterans suckers and losers. He defied a federal judge's order, precipitated a constitutional crisis. What did you guys do? What did the people of America in 2025 do? So the line in the sand, it has been drawn. It is very clear what we're up against. You all are students of history. I mean, you go back to the first democracy in the Greek Peninsula 2,500 years ago. Go back to the Roman Republic. Go back to the Weimar Republic in the 1920s and the 1930s. While you're twiddling your thumbs and playing nice and trying to be bipartisan, they are killing their fucking country and taking away democracy. So we are either going to fight or we are going to surrender, and I plan on fighting.
That's right. That's right. Let's do it. Amen.
All right, we have Carol Roach from Sugar Land. Where is Carol? Here comes Carol. Carol is wearing a Harris.
Thank you very much.
All serving.
Thank you so much. I am Carol, and I am the mother of 2 children, amongst many other things. And my youngest actually has Down syndrome.